welcome back to the film and TV channel, my little film and TV channel. Please, if you're not subscribed, please do so. It'd be great if you can do that. And if you've pressed those like buttons, guys, it's much appreciated. It makes an old man very happy if you can do that. So we're going to have a look at a film today, guys. We're going to have a look at something that's been advertised certainly for the last few weeks. No wonder the money was spent on it. We'll talk about the budget at the end of this if you're interested. Just a little comment about the budget of this and what it means for films like this in general, and you and me, the subscribers, of course, who subscribe to these sort of things. I'm going to talk about Luck today, a computer-animated fantasy comedy film directed by Peggy Holmes, written by Kean Murray. He co-wrote the story with Jonathan Abel and Mr. Glenn Berger, and based on an original idea by Rebecca Carrasco, Juan de Diaz, and Julian Romero. But what are the public thinking? The public quite like this. Public are okay with this. We'll get a different opinion from the critics in a moment. But the Rotten Tomatoes audience, 71% positivity, which is fine. 3.9 out of 5, so equates to almost 8 out of 10, doesn't it? 7.8 out of 10. Internet Movie Database, not quite as high. 6.3 out of 10, but that's not bad. That's not bad for animation. 4,769 scores and reviews. 3,072 scored it between 6 and 9, and just 927 scored it between 2 and 5. So again, similar to Rotten Tomatoes, slightly higher even, a 77%, if my maths is correct, 77% positivity on Internet Movie Database. There's a few 10 out of 10s, probably about 600 10 out of 10s and about 100 1 out of 10s, but I ignored those anyway, just for balance. So that's still a positive figure. We get various voices in this, of course. We've got Eva Noblezada, excellent stuff. Simon Pegg, brilliant. Jane Fonda, stunning. Whoopi Goldberg, marvellous. Flula Borg, exciting. Lil Ray Howery, wonderful. Colin O'Donoghue, staggering. And John Ratzenberger, immense. So there you go. I come up with all those voices in this, and it's nice. It's a nice feel. There's a nice link between the voices and the characters. Someone was complaining about Irish accents for the leprechauns, but what do you want them to have? Want to speak Russian? I don't know. Well, Russian leprechauns, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, why not? Why can't we have? I mean, that's the whole idea. Leprechauns from Latvia, etc. So why not? There you go. It was released on Apple TV Plus, of course, this, and in select theatres. So obviously, a few select theatres in the United States got it. I'm not too sure over here in the UK. I've not checked up on the cinema things since I stopped my cinema watch recently. But anyone missed that? I've not done any real comments, so obviously I'll leave it as it is for now. Yeah, so it's released on August the 5th, 2022. Rotten Tomatoes, the critics. Let's have a look at the critics, because the public quite like it, but I can't say that about the critics. Rotten Tomatoes, 78 critics, only 47% positivity. They're having a downer on this. Perhaps he looked at the budget and thought, I'll mark this low for that sort of money, but that's nothing to do with it. It's not our fault. It's not up to us to judge how much it costs. It's up to me to be entertained and whether it's worth watching. An average rating of 5.2 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes, 37 fresh and 41 rotten. So only just in the rotten mould. The consensus of the website reads, Luck is inoffensive enough as an animated babysitter, but there are far more original and entertaining options for its target audience. Really? Is there? I don't think so that much. It might be one or two, but you've got to keep these things. You've got to load up on these things, haven't you? Metacritic, the other site we'll look at, the critic site, 48 out of 100. So again, not dissimilar based on 21 critics, and it scores anywhere between a lowly 33 out of 100 and 80 out of 100. Let's have a look at some names. Let's have a look at some of the guys who put the names, been brave enough to put the names to the scores. Wendy Hyde is fresh, yes, on Rotten Tomatoes for The Observer here in the UK. She said, there's much to enjoy. A chase sequence with a lucky black cat is a giddy delight. It is early in the show as well, so it sort of drew me in, that's for sure. I do like cats, by the way, guys. I don't mind dogs, but I'm a bigger cats fan. I just like the way they can do what they want. I can't be bothered, If a cat looks after itself and it treats you like muck, so what? As long as it does its job and what have you, I don't mind. Dogs are a bit more family-fied, aren't they? A bit more taken care of. Cats, not so much. And sometimes with a nice cat, you gives as much as you give, but obviously you get as much as you get with cats, don't you? But there you go. Anyway, I digress. This displays Jackie Tatty levels of audacious inventiveness, says Wendy Hyde of The Observer. Very good. So, as I said, some great moments, but the only thing for me is they do get a little bit lost in the length of this movie. That is my big, me and the length of movies, even if it's a Marvel or a DC, blockbuster. I still cringe sometimes about the length these films take. Kevin Mayer of The Times in the UK. Yeah, not so hot on this one. He said he was rotten on this. He said, look, he's like a mega mix of several different Pixars, especially Monsters, Inc. and Inside Out, but with the narrative logic and emotional core removed. A bit harsh. It does lack a little bit of emotional value, but I think it just makes up for it in just, all right, perhaps one-dimensional, but still likeable characters for me. Gorgeous to look at, of course. Does that make up for it? And overall, yes, it does wear thin in bits. But yeah, I think that's just a little bit harsh from Kevin there from The Times. The Guardian's Peter Bradshaw, he didn't like it either. He gave it 40 out of 100 on Metacritic. He said everything about this robotically made movie looks derivative and derivative. Oh, I can't even say it, guys. You know what I mean, don't we? DERIVATIVE and contrived. The video game aesthetic is dull and the quirky high concept plays like a pound shop knockoff of Inside Out and Soul. Pound shop knockoff? I mean, I thought pound shops were all originals, but they just cost £1. A bit unfair. On pound shots there, Peter. Yeah, okay. On the basis that Inside Out and Soul are not 10 a penny, and they're not. There's not many of those films about, Pete, to be honest with you. I think this is an okay addition to that sort of stable. I'm not saying it's better, but it's certainly what's wrong with having an addition to it. And that's what it is. Not better, just a pleasant addition. Screen Rant's Graham Gutman, he gave it 60, so he was a bit better with it. He gave it 60 out of 100 on Metacritic. He said, look, may not reinvent the wheel. It doesn't. At this point, what can? Spot on, Graham. But it does what films like this do best, bringing forth a message about family and perseverance with humour, heart, and a lot of magic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to add too much to what Graham said there. And finally, someone who really liked it, The Telegraph's Robbie Collin, gave it 8 out of 100 and said, look, contains all the warmth and ingenuity that was nowhere to be found in Pixar's own recent Lightyear, and has the attitude and not always supreme clarity and craftsmanship of his old studio's vintage productions. Yep, I definitely agree about Lightyear. Don't disagree with much of what Robbie said there. Right, guys, just to finish off my little thoughts before we go, I think you've got a good little mix of reviews there. I think jokes, they are physical. They are physical and they're slapsticky, if you like. But the characters are fine. They're not laugh out loud funny. I actually did laugh out loud. I remember a couple of times towards the start of the film, but not so much as the film. I will say dragged on in a good way. It did drag on for me. There's definitely a nice visual humour about the characters and the stunts, of course there is. But like anything, if you get that for nearly 2 hours, it does wear you down. I've been worn down at the moment personally myself, so it was a bit of a struggle. As I say, I fully invested the first 50 minutes, 60 minutes, but it became a matter of going and doing something else for 10 minutes and coming back and watching part 2. It's just how it was. The worst thing, it's just, as I said, it's just too long. I had to watch it in 2 sittings, as I've just said there. And younger kids, if you're sitting kids down for a couple of hours, they're going to get up and do other things while this is on, I'm afraid. So it may be best just sitting them down for like 20, 25-minute chunks, perhaps. So you can watch more of that after tea or whatever. I think that might be a good idea. They are Bernard's please the kids option. So there you go. Basically, it's not 30, 40 minutes off, and it may have been a film I'd have been sad to see come to an end. As it was, it wasn't, because it was going on too long, and it wore me out. Stunning visuals, Keystone Cop set pieces throughout, which, like a good Keystone Cop episode, they only last, 20, 25 minutes, and this goes on for nearly 2 hours, so even that does wear after a little while. But some great sequences, some great animation. I know it's all computer animated these days. Reading between the lines, it's not as impressive, the old style, of course it's not, but that's what it is. That's the day and age we live in. I still think the critics have been a bit harsh, and I think the public generally are quite right and a bit more supportive of this, and quite right. And as I said, I did mention budget, didn't I, early on? And this is the thing, if I was judging this on budget, I probably won't give it as high a mark. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10, guys, as a good watch. But obviously a budget, it's quoted anywhere between $140 to $200 million And that is just scary for this sort of thing. And that's possibly why it has to be on for nearly 2 hours, because you have to justify that amount of money. We've said this for other things with the Marvels and the DCs. But I noticed post-COVID, some of these films are coming in a little bit cheaper. You've got to watch the pennies. And thing like Apple Plus, obviously people subscribe to it. So there's got to be a limit, because obviously if they're going to spend this sort of money, I'm afraid for Apple, I can't imagine Apple Plus quickly going out of business. But they've got to be careful, because spending this sort of money, it's all right just to, we'll stick the subscriptions up £1 a month, but people are struggling. Certainly here in the UK, people are struggling, and it's sort of aimed at the family element, Apple Plus as well, with this sort of thing, obviously, and some great stuff on Apple Plus for adults as well, of course there is, but there's a limit to what we can pay. So I do worry a little bit about the budget of these films and what they're costing and for what we get. Knock it down to 60 to 80 million, have a good hour, 20-minute film, do something like that. I just puzzle a little bit about it in the future of things like this. I don't know what you think, guys. Let me know in your comments what you think about this. I mean, it's all right, Apple, it's only £1 a month, but then there's £1 a month on Netflix, £2 a month on Amazon, £1 a month on Stars Play. £1 a month on your sort of normal Sky, or that pound. Probably £4 or £5 a month going up, stuff like that. So yeah, there has to be a limit, and I do worry about the budgets of these films. I will keep a close eye on budgets and perhaps mention it where they are available, just to say whether that's reasonable for what we get. And to be honest with you, for a nearly 2-hour thing, I can see where they spent the money, but I'm sorry, they could have probably halved that, and or even more than halved that, and come out with a much better film, 80 minutes, 85 minutes. Just my opinion. Let me know what you think, guys. That's what it's all about. It's all opinions. Let me know. We've gone on a bit longer for this one, but I think such a big film like this, it's always worth spending a little bit more time. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you stuck with me. Thanks for watching, guys. Please, until we meet again, stay safe, everyone. Bye for now.